And we are back. This is Jeff Lax. You're listening to Jeff Lax Live, another edition, early edition tonight of the show, 9 p.m. on WSNR 620 AM. You can hear us again tonight at 11. We will be on 93.5 FM HD2 and always streaming on talklinenetwork.com. I want to get straight, no monologue tonight. I want to get straight to enormous news that just broke. A friend and colleague of mine, a wonderful, wonderful human being, Professor Linda Allen, is the William F. Aldinger Chair in Banking and Finance Endowment. She's a professor at the Zicklin School of Business, Baruch, which, as many of you know, is CUNY's flagship campus. I was a graduate of Baruch, a very proud graduate in those days. And Professor Allen has some unbelievable breaking news. Can you please share it with all of our listeners?
Well, hi, Jeff. So glad that you could get me on. This is really a great opportunity to tell you something that I'm very thrilled about. As you know, Jeff has told you all about how upset any right-minded person is with the PSC CUNY resolution about Israel that was abhorrent and completely factually incorrect. And I just got off the phone with the former chancellor of City University of New York, Matt Goldstein, and he is right on board with all of us who are upset with the PSC CUNY union and has agreed to resign the union. He is willing to come out straight with his dismay. He is upset that the CUNY administration has not been more vocal in opposition to this resolution, and so Matt Goldstein, who was the chancellor of City University of New York, is very much on board with our initiative to get people to resign from the PSC in protest against this abhorrent resolution.
That is unbelievable. Oh my God, I am so proud of Chancellor Goldstein. I commend you, Linda, for being in touch with him, and I know that he agreed to have you. And for people listening, by the way, I found out about this about a minute ago. I immediately said, Professor Allen, call me. I want to get you on Nancy right now, right? Because that is huge, huge news, and I can't express enough how proud I am for the courage, because he's going to take a hit from some people who just can't stand, honestly, the people who are fighting against this. So I know he's going to take a political hit, but he came out for what is right. And tell people a little bit about Matt Goldstein, who may not be so familiar with his chancellorship.
Right. So I want to tell you a little bit about him because he's really a fantastic human being. Yeah. And I knew him when I was a junior professor, which is quite a few years ago. I came to Baruch as an assistant professor. He was at that time a professor of statistics. He had written the #1 seller in business statistics in terms of a textbook. And he moved through the administrative ranks until I think the second year I was at Baruch, he became the president of Baruch. And I was pretty active in the Senate and whatever other administrative aspects of faculty then. And we got to know one another. And I always was impressed by his erudition, his clear mind, his ability to make peace amongst parties that perhaps were in disagreement. Most important, he would be able to stand up. He always stood up for what he believed in. He was fearless in that regard. And as you know what they say about academic arguments. They're so vicious because there's so little to fight about. So he had his share as the president of Baruch College, but he always was able to have every party go away from a conversation, sometimes a pretty vociferous conversation, with a feeling that they had been heard. And I think it's not a surprise that he ultimately went from Baruch College president to the chair of the Research Foundation, and he went all the way up to the chancellor's office of the City University of New York. And during that time, he was very successful in galvanizing CUNY, raising standards, building the board of trustees, And he always stood for what's right. He was always a clear-minded individual who knew that you have to stand for the truth, that he had no a willingness to short circuit, to cut corners, and he would tell it like it is, and he was always well informed, and he is appalled by the June 10th resolution by PSC CUNY. Not only is it blatantly anti-Semitic that there should be a resolution that doesn't acknowledge the right of a government to protect their citizens, to stand up and when there is a thuggish group that is sending missiles into people's homes. I happened to be there in Israel during the war.
Oh, really?
May. And
oh, my gosh.
And I have grandchildren who live there. And I could tell you how frightened my little kids were at this. It completely paralyzed the country.
And you were in bomb shelters, Linda? You were running to bomb shelters?
Yes. In my apartment there, we have a room that is, they call it a sealed room. It has a 25-centimeter thick concrete walls and iron windows and doors. And that's where you have to run when there is a siren. And you cannot understand how terribly scary and how difficult it is to live a normal life under these circumstances.
Sure.
And that's for adults. But children are even worse. They are even more badly affected.
Of course.
And for a group of people here in New York to stand up and say those horrible things, and not even to acknowledge the fact that these thugs in Hamas had attacked Israel's citizenry with these bombs has made Matt and me and you, Jeff, and so many other people just livid. And,
but here's the thing, Linda. When you do that, and I know you agree with me, but I want to, for the listeners who may not be as familiar with the resolution, because we're going to get listeners for the first time tonight. We're on a different time, and we have a very largely Jewish audience. I really want them to understand what this is. That resolution called out the massacring, was the word they use, of Palestinian civilians.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Yeah. They didn't say a word about Hamas first firing rockets at Israeli civilians. So you and I know, agree about this. But when you do that, what you are saying is you care about the death only of non-Jewish civilians. And that is the heart of why so many of us finally said, are you kidding me? That is the most despicable form of anti-Semitism. I'm so grateful that someone like you was able to come on here, and you're such a courageous and brilliant human being, but so courageous more than anything. And you're coming here and telling us this story about running with children to bomb shelters because a terrorist group was unsolicitedly, you could say it's because people didn't pay their rent and got evicted. Give me a break. There were missiles. It's ridiculous. Missiles. That's the escalation, right? And you're running to bomb shelters. And I just want to say, because we're running short on time here, I got to run to a break. And I want to have you again to talk about this in more detail. But Zev is going to kill me if I don't run his spots. But I just want to say, I got to say this. Matt Goldstein, you are a hero. What you did is the most courageous thing I've ever seen a CUNY chancellor ever do. And I want to clarify for the audience, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Linda. He's not just standing in support with us. He's not just saying I agree with them. He is resigning from the union. Is that right?
Yes, correct. He's doing that. And he has said to me he's going to get people to join our initiative.
Amazing.
And he's out there, and he's really right front and center, as he always has been.
Amazing.
And I'm proud to be a follower of Matt Goldstein.
I'm proud of you. I'm proud of him. And I would say, and I hope you'll join me. Hey, Chancellor Matos Rodriguez, are you listening? Are you listening, Chancellor Matos Rodriguez? Are you listening? Wake up. Do the right thing. Do the moral thing. Do the decent thing. Do the human thing. We have not heard a word, not one word from the chancellor on this. Go work on him and go work on Milliken too, okay, Professor Allen?
Okay, I'll do my best.
Good luck with that,
Jeff,
right?
you keep up the great work, because you have been the person that has been at the forefront of this whole initiative. So I appreciate that.
We're all in this together, and God bless you, Professor Linda. Can I call you Linda? God bless you, Linda. Thank you.
Okay.
Talk to you soon.
Thank you. Have a good night. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Be well. Bye-bye.